anger of the guns. And so some lines to Spike, centenary prattle. These words, a sole survivor, soldier's sons. My father Bill, born in Victorian England, the 6th of January 1899. His stock, loyal London, proletarian doff cap. Aged just 18, he went to join the line. Not in a war to end all wars forever, but in a ghastly slaughter at the Somme. A pointless feud, a royal family squabble fought by their proxy poor with gun and bomb. My father saved. Pyrexia, unknown origin. Frontline battalion, he lay sick in bed. His comrades formed their line, then came the whistle, and then the news that every one was dead. In later life, a polished comic poet. No words to us expressed that awful fear, although we knew such things were not forgotten. He dreamed Sassoon. He wrote Belloc and Lear. When I was 10, he died. But I remember, although just once, he'd hinted at the truth. He put down Henry King and Jabberwocky and read me Owen's Anthem for Doomed Youth. Yeah. What passing bells for those who die as cattle? Only the monstrous anger of the guns. And so some lines to Spike, centenary prattle. These words, a sole survivor, soldier's sons. Thanks. There's a story, there's more of a story there. My father was 59 when I was born. I was born an uncle to teenagers because he had a previous marriage. I have a half-brother who I just visited in hospital this week. My half-brother is 88 years old. My half-sister would have been 92. She sadly died 20 years ago. My father, obviously, when my father and mother met, he was about 55 and she was 34. And it was just at the time when he had made legal history, and this is the other side of it. He had made legal history as the first man to get a decree, this is genuinely, honestly true, the first man ever to get a decree nisi on the grounds of his partner's physical and mental cruelty. The Bain versus Bain, it's in the, there's little bits you can still find on the internet. I'm going to send the ladies from the centre a couple of bits about it, because it is obviously 99% of domestic violence in the heterosexual relationships is obviously male to female. But men do suffer too, and I'm from Brighton, where there's a huge gay community, and there's a lot of male on male domestic violence happening too. So we need. I mean, it's just. I'm just saying that. I mean, I'm saying that in the context really of just the story about my dad, and it's a personal thing, you know.
And
it's a personal thing.
And just on that. Last year when we said close in 2016, Rainbow, which was the LGBT domestic violence charity, lost all their funding, and we supported them to keep their funding.
Absolutely, brilliant. So this is carrying on the same story now. So my dad died when I was 10. When I was 14, my mum said she was going to get married again, and I was really pleased because I missed my dad, she missed her husband. We had very little money. She was lonely. I met my stepfather to be. He's the guy I mentioned in the poem about the miners. He was a working class Tory, worked in a tax office in Brighton. Big, didn't say much. I was playing Electric Warrior by T-Rex, first time I ever bought. Still my second favourite album of all time, apart from the first Clash album. Really loud in my bedroom. They were caught in the front room. Then they got married. They didn't go anywhere, obviously, because I was there. My stepfather, on the day they got married, my stepfather, who had legally just become my stepfather, came into my bedroom and said, "Will you turn the music down, please?" And I said, "We never worried you before." And he actually said, and this is honestly true, he actually literally said, "I'm the head of the household now." Now look at me at 16, imagine what I was like when I was 14 and a half. 37 years later I wrote this poem. It's called Never Too Late. My father died when I was 10. And when she dried her tears, Mum met you in the choir. She'd known of you for years. I was so pleased when she told me that she would be your wife, and I looked forward happily to a new man in my life. But you were the classical singer who thought rock and roll was junk, and I was the Bolan boogie boy who soon became a punk. You were the civil servant for whom everything had its place, and I was the left-wing activist, out there and in your face. Yes, you were the head of the household, and I was the stroppy kid. We wound each other up for sure. We flipped each other's lid. But later, we both learned so much, and something new began. And here's a poem I wrote for you, you decent, gentle man. So I went off to my own life, left you and mum to yours. A few words about football, then the sound of closing doors. But the passing of so many years gave us both time to reflect, and slowly, oh so slowly, we forged a new respect. When you were ill the first time and found it hard to walk, I'd take you to the hospital. We would sit and talk. It felt so right and normal, and it was such a shame that it had taken all this time. Both stubborn, both to blame. Because you were the head of the household and I was the stroppy kid. We wound each other up for sure. We flipped each other's lid, but later we both learned so much and something new began. And here's a poem I wrote for you, you decent, gentle man. When mum came down with Alzheimer's, 5 years you cooked and cared, and we were around there every day, so many thoughts were shared. Your simple, honest loyalty, the vows you made, you'd keep. No longer the big boss man, me, no longer the black sheep. Then came that day in hospital. The end was near, we knew. You told me, I do love you, John. I said, I love you too. You took my hand and squeezed it. Our eyes were filled with tears. The first time that we'd said that, it took 37 years. Because you were the head of the household and I was the stroppy kid. We wound each other up for sure. We flipped each other's lid, but later we both learned so much and something new began. And here's a poem I wrote for you, you decent, gentle man. It's never too late, never too late, never too late to say you love someone. And if it wasn't too late for me and John, then it's never too late for anyone. Cheers. I'm going to do one more family poem, and it's a very different one.
Just how?
My entire extended family, apart from my lovely mum, are basically working class Tories. You know that Keeping Up Appearances programme?
Yeah.
Acting like you is related to me. You're just one brain cell and that one's a mess. Parroting rubbish from the Daily Express. No, not the Sun. You'll say that was a rag. Delusions of grandeur from a jumped up hag. But don't get ideas. You're as thick as a shoe. Poison pensioner. This poem's for you. I've had it up to here and I'm cutting up rough. Distant relative? Not distant enough. Ever thought of space travel? Prejudiced cow? I'd suggest Uranus, but you're up there right now. With a monochrome vision of a world that's dead. A million Reader's Digests inside your head. I'd like to put vomit in your cheese fondue. Poison pensioner, this poem's for you. You worked all your life in the public sector, when all you ever did was whine and hector, moan at the people who fought your cause, cheer for the Tories and their union laws. You were born in a council house, you clueless bitch, but you side with the right and you vote with the rich, bowing and scraping to the privileged few. Poison pensioner, this poem's for you. You've a medal for meddling, that's for sure. If this was my house, then I'd show you the door, but my mum needs help and you're here to see her, so I sit and I listen to your verbal gonorrhea. Right now, I wish I was in her head, because mum won't remember a word you've said. Your compassionate actress got a bad review. Poison pensioner, this poem's for you. Bossy yet servile. Some combination. Paralysed spine of a lick-spittle nation. Could have been a builder, ended up a tool. Lifelong victim of divide and rule. You're a ragged trousered philanthropist who wasn't even waiting for the boat you missed. You're a turkey voting for Christmas too. Poison pensioner, this poem's for you. Cheers. Second, escaped to France 250 yards from my front door from Shoreham-Port in 1651. And I've just written, I've also got a punk rock band that plays a mixture of punk and medieval music, and I've just written a whole album about all of that and how different things could have been if he'd been executed too, then we'll be electing a new president instead of going on about his fucking bollocks anyway. Anyway, here we go. Give Hester and Diamond their bonus. They deserve it, they do a good job. I want workhouses for the dull scroungers and a picture of Prince Harry's knob. I work for my gaffer for nothing. I'm grateful he gives me a job. I'll swap all your bloody trade unions for a picture of Prince Harry's knob. His knob, his knob, a picture of Prince Harry's knob. His knob, his knob, his knob, a picture of Prince Harry's knob. You got it? Okay, over to you. The country, it just can't afford it. Those strikers, they're all meant to mob. They should all doff their caps and be happy with a picture of Prince Harry's knob. Don't give me your bleeding heart lecture, you middle class guardian snob. Cause some of us live in the real world with a picture of Prince Harry's knob. His knob, his knob, a picture of Prince Harry's knob. His knob, his knob, his knob, a picture of Prince Harry's knob. You lefties and loonies and liberals, it's time you shut your bloody gob. Cause all that the likes of me ask for is a picture of Prince Harry's knob. I'm penniless, hapless and hopeless, and the state of my health makes me sob. But I'll work like a slave for my betters with my picture of Prince Harry's knob. His knob, his knob, a picture of Prince Harry's knob. His knob, his knob, his knob, a picture of Prince Harry's knob. One more time. His knob, his knob, a picture of Prince Harry's knob. His knob, his knob, his knob, a picture of Prince Harry's knob. Yes. I'll read the Sun and I'll believe it with my picture of Prince Harry's knob. Cheers. Right, now, Arlene, begging of you, please don't break my plan. Arlene, please don't break it just because you can. Your bigotry's beyond compare. A bowl of hand sits in your hair. You play a bigger flute than Damien Green. You tell me that I'll get the sack if you don't get your border back, and I cannot compete with you, Arlene. Arlene. Begging on me, please don't break my flag. Arlene. Please don't break it just because you can. And of course, a couple days later, they did the deal. Tell about the deal we did. Another starting £1 billion. The whole day taking selfies with the Queen. Personal gold plated you, an Arsenal season ticket too, and you know just how much one costs. Arlene. Please don't break my flag. Arlene. Please don't break it just because you can. Ulster says no, but a man from Del Monte, he say yes, and he's an orange man too. That's actually a joke with my boy Mulligan, a good mate of mine, about people got locked up for nicking some trainers a few years after the bankers didn't got locked up for nicking everything. That's a resoluter in trainers and a hood. He trashed his local corner shop. He learned that green is good. CCTV nailed him. The papers called him scum. Now Dad was in the barring place, crying for his mum. No such thing as society, so steal and cheat and loot. Just one thing to remember, make sure you wear a suit. Baz a resoluter in pinstripe frozen tide, short selling in the city, he made millions on the slide. He needs our hard-earned savings, they turn around and said thanks. He walked off with the money, we bailed out the banks. There's no such thing as society, so steal and cheat and loot. Just one thing to remember, make sure you wear a suit. When greed's a breed, what else can you expect? Selfish scum get richer, the communities get wrecked. Some robbers with an iron bar, some a computer screen. And when they say it's legal, that's even more obscene. Bazza is a street kid, and what he did was wrong, but he probably wouldn't do it if he felt he could So steal and cheat and loot. Just one thing to remember, make sure you wear a suit. There's no such thing as society, so steal and cheat and loot. Just one thing to remember, make sure you wear a suit. Make sure you wear a suit. Make sure you wear a suit. Cheers. And I always say, if anyone's ever been to a shittier gig than my shittiest gig, I'll buy you a pint. I haven't had to buy anyone a single pint. Shit gig. I went off on tour. Telford, Oaken Gates Theatre, 31st of August 1984. Nice place, good crowd. Then in the middle of my gig, a bloke in the audience shouts, "I've got some shit." Fine, I say, but I don't smoke. "No, I've got some shit." At which point he whips out a carrier bag full of his own faeces, smears it on himself, then starts on the people around him. I've seen some trouble at gigs, but no bunch of Nazi boners ever scattered an audience like that bloke did. Fortunately, the venue security had hearts of oak and stomachs of iron. They pulled him out and the gig carried on. If anyone ever says, "I had a really shit gig last night," I say, "I bet you had a shittier one in Telford once." Tell them that story. Cheers. Okay, 1997. Brighton Hove Albion, 1997, Brighton Hove Albion have lost our ground. We're second from bottom of the entire football league, like 91 out of 92. We're playing our home games at Gillingham, which is like 70 miles there and 70 miles back. And I become the PA announcer. I remained the PA announcer and DJ at Brighton from 1997 to 2011. When we got the new stadium and they said, "We can't have you playing the Clash every week and Welsh language experimental hip hop and Carla." I once played Stimmel by Karl-Heinz Stockhausen at home game. I think I'm the only pre-match DJ who's ever played Stockhausen at home. Like, for those who don't know, it's kind of really weird, kind of experimental classical music. I mean, it sounds really strange. It's not sort of thing you normally play at football matches. But anyway, so but this is the true story of the one and only time that I played Anarchy in the UK at a Brighton game while we were playing at Gillingham. And anyway, the tunes I've been playing pre-match have been going down well with the Albion fans I talked to, and the whole idea of playing music as energetic as possible to try and create some sort of pre-match atmosphere in a home ground 70 miles away was a hit with Dick Knight and the club. It was an early kick-off on Boxing Day 1997. We were bumping around second from bottom of the whole football league, with a team perhaps even worse than one we'd had the previous season. We'd obviously had to set off really early to get to Gillingham in time for the game, and everyone was a bit bleary-eyed. So for the first time, I decided to play Anarchy in the UK by the Sex Pistols. It'd been on for about a minute when a policeman burst into the box. Take that off, now!" "Why?" I asked. But I could see that he was really angry. So I did, and I put the Clash on instead. "You can't play that record at a football match, it's banned, it's on the list." "What list?" I asked. "No one's ever told me there was a list of records I couldn't play." "But it's obvious, isn't it?" he shouted. "It's obvious." I stood there, the Clash playing in the background, perplexed. It certainly wasn't obvious to me. The fact that he needed to explain further made him even more angry. "It incites violence in the crowd." I thought for a few seconds. "Well, officer," I said, "I bought 2 copies of Anarchy in the UK in the black sleeve on EMI Records on the day that it came out in 1976. I have played it and heard it many, many times since. Not once has doing so given me violent thoughts of any kind whatsoever. I've also been to all 92 Football League grounds, and every time I have heard In the Air Tonight by Phil Collins, I've had to restrain myself from committing serious acts of criminal damage." He didn't get the joke. A couple of days later, Brighton Hove Albion Football Club received a formal letter from Kent Police banning me from doing the PA at Gillingham any longer. Dick Knight phoned me up. "I'm not having that, John." He spoke to them and the ban was rescinded on condition that I didn't play Anarchy in the UK again. So I didn't. I did play Smash It Up by the Damned, and I thought the more was White Riot by the Clash. In the next couple of weeks though, no policeman appeared in the box. Obviously those 3 words on the list. Cheers. Last one. I hope you've raised loads and loads of money. You know, it's really good. It's been inspiring to be here. I will continue to give me your absolute support. And as I say, if you want women performers to come and do stuff for you, I know people. I mean, the first one that springs to mind, absolutely, who's written songs about this stuff. Have you heard of Louis Distress?
Yeah. I just want to say something. 1991, my ex took me to see a tiller at Glastonbury, and I've got a tiller, the stockbroker, stopping at my house! Better than Michael fucking Evers!
Okay, last one. 40 years in rhyme, 36 full time, I'm still in my prime, life has been sublime. I could use some music, someone else could choose it. If it helps me flow, no, you got it, I refuse it. Maybe not the done thing, maybe it's a young thing. I don't chat no gun thing, no make him un thing. I'm here to enlighten, representing Brighton. Now we're in the Premier League, who are we going to frighten? Mine's the southernmost, I'm from the Sussex coast. Hoser in the garden centre, bread is simply toast. Don't give me no cup of tea when I'm getting uppity. Beer is my cup of tea, high specific gravity. Like the wind I'm blowing, like a river flowing. 40 years of knowing exactly where I'm going. 60 on the planet, spoken word I span it. Randy verse I ran it. Seagull, not organic. Old punk on a new trip, not a special brew trip, not a stiffing glue trip, not a dissing new trip. Checking out fresh styles, bringing tears and smiles. From the Outer Hebrides to the Seven Dials. Beer I like it hoppy, verse I like it stroppy. Sometimes I get personal, but I don't like it soppy. I remember Brother D. Grandmaster was legendary, but U-Roy was the first to show. Toasters started off this flow. Ranting verse, reggae chat, hip-hop, grime and all of that. Weird, simply spoken word. Voices shouting to be heard. Respect to my fellow man, from Cooper Clark to Yellow Man, Stormzy, Tempest and Luke Wright. Spoken word is doing alright. When I began there was no scene. Looking back at all the speed, 40 years of chatting rhyme. Having a fantastic time. Thank you.
Hello, I couldn't film earlier because there were two people walking up on the other side of the road and there's cars coming, so I hope you can hear me. I've just been to the Attila the Stockbroker gig at the Mason's Arms in town. The first clip you'll probably see on this video is probably the clip from my phone and the clip from this camera of the fact that it did actually snow today, but it didn't settle. It snowed this evening just as I was going for the bus to go into town for the gig. I think we did raise a lot of money, hopefully, and I did help out. I hate it when that happens because there's nothing I can do about the traffic. So it would have been quieter if I'd been able to film when I was further back. But anyway, I've been to the gig. He's a spoken word poet and singer. I'm just going home now. I had to get the 87 because my bus wasn't for ages. I've got to be careful because it's slippery on this bit. My bus wasn't till like 10 to 11 or something, or quarter to 11, so I couldn't wait that long. If all these cars were to stop coming down, considering it's like gone 10 o'clock at night now, it's like I say, I'm just passing Grove Park. I'm on my way home. I got the 87 because my bus wasn't for ages, so I'm walking up Armfort Road. But I'm going to stop filming now because you probably can't hear a word I'm saying for all these cars that are going past, and I don't really want to fall on my bum on all this ice what's on the ground, so I shall see you later. Bye.